What are the top veteran benefits in Indiana? And stay to the end to learn more about VA loans. I'm Eric Pels. I'm with the Pels Realty Group based here in Carmel, Indiana. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas, go ahead and subscribe below so you can be the first to know about the current market in Indianapolis. We get calls and texts from people just like you who are going to make their move in Indianapolis. So whether that's in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call. Veterans make up about 8% of the population here in Indiana. So in this video, we'll be talking about the different veteran benefits here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Some of the key veteran benefits provided by Indiana are financial assistance, VA loans, educational benefits, employment services, and many other services too. Starting with employment assistance, the Indiana Department of Workforce Development offers employment assistance for veterans to aid in the transition to civilian life. The Disabled Veterans Outreach Program specializes in job placement and training for veterans and services-related disabilities. The local Veterans Employment Representative Program helps veterans get jobs, counseling, testing, and different employment opportunities. If this is something that interests you, you can contact your local workforce development office to get connected with your nearest veterans representative. For disabled veterans, the Disabled Veterans Outreach Program helps veterans with service-related disabilities with job placement and training. Indiana offers a military CDL skills waiver program, so that's for veterans on active duty or who are truck drivers during their military service and are looking to get their commercial driver's license or CDL. The BMV or Bureau of Motor Vehicles may waive the required skills test to obtain a CDL if the applicant applies within 1 year of discharge and meets all the requirements. Veterans who are looking to go into the trades and get on-the-job experience, Indiana offers the Indiana Veteran Apprenticeship and on-the-job training program. A typical apprenticeship programs that are offered are carpenters, electricians, plumbers, tool and die makers, machinists, mechanics, and iron workers. A veteran can receive GI Bill benefits while working. Once you complete the program, you are not required to register with the Indiana Department of Labor, but it's recommended in order to get your journeyman papers. On-the-job training programs can run from 6 months to a maximum of 2 years. Some of the programs for on-the-job training are police officers, firefighters, deputies, sheriffs, and jailers. Now let's move on to some of the benefits that Indiana offers veterans in terms of financial services. Indiana has the military service deduction program that allows active duty, reserve military, military retirees 60 years or older, or surviving spouses that are eligible to exempt $5,000 from their gross taxable income. This deduction is equal to the actual amount of military income received or military pay, retirement pay, and or survivor benefits, or $5,000, whichever is less. Indiana also has the Military or Family Relief Fund. So this fund is available to all veterans that served on active duty during wartime for at least 12 months. The temporary emergency grant may be used for food, housing, utilities, transportation, and medical expenses. If your family is eligible, you may receive a one-time grant of up to $2,500. The Golden Hoosier Passport is a program that gives veterans 65 years and older and is a current Indiana resident discount to all Indiana state-owned parks, recreation areas, reservoirs, and forests. The pass is good for 1 calendar year, but the pass is not valid for historical sites, museums, memorials, or other Department of Natural Resources facilities. And former POWs who apply for a POW designated license plate will receive their Golden Hoosier Passport in the mail after their plates are issued. Veterans who didn't graduate high school because of World War I, World War II, Korean War, or Vietnam are eligible to receive a high school diploma by the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs. To be eligible, you must be a student in good standing, have attended public or non-public high school in Indiana prior to military service. Another requirement is to have an honorable discharge from the military. Indiana offers free tuition and fee exemption for the kids of disabled veterans and Purple Heart recipients at state-supported colleges and universities. To receive this benefit, a veteran must have been on active duty during wartime or received a Purple Heart medal with an honorable discharge. This program provides up to 100% of tuition and regularly assessed fees for up to 124 semester credit hours at Indiana public colleges and universities at the undergraduate resident tuition rate. The eligible state-supported schools are Ball State, Indiana University, IU Bloomington, IU East, IU Kokomo, IU South Bend, IU Southeast, Purdue West Lafayette, Purdue North Central, Purdue Coleman, Indiana Purdue University Indianapolis, Purdue Columbus, Purdue Fort Wayne, all Ivy Tech community colleges, University of Indiana, Vincennes University, and Western Governors University, Indiana. There are also other educational financial aids for veterans, active duty service members, and their families. Some of the educational benefits are tuition and fee exemption for children of deceased and disabled veterans, tuition and fee exemption for children of Purple Heart recipients, supplemental grants for children and spouses of Indiana National Guard service members, tuition and fee exemption for Indiana Purple Heart recipients, soldiers and sailors children's homes. All of the links to these educational benefits will be in the description below. Indiana offers property tax deductions to disabled veterans who have served during wartime, received an honorable discharge, and a service-connected disability rating of at least 10%. They are eligible for a deduction of $24,960 from the assessed value of their property. For veterans who are 62 years old and older and have a service-connected disability rating of at least 10% are eligible for a deduction of $12,480 from the assessed value of their property. The deadline for veterans to apply for the property tax deduction is on or before December 31st of the year deductions apply. The deadline for veterans to apply for the property tax deduction is on or before December 31st of the year deductions apply. One good thing is this deduction also applies to mobile homes too. Mobile home owners who apply on or before March 31st will have the deduction applied to this year's bill. Those who apply after this date will have the deduction applied to next year's property tax bill. One thing to note is mobile home owners must reapply every year they would like to receive this deduction. Now let's move on to some programs that help veterans get into homes. So the first program is going to be Help to Own. The Help to Own program offers down payment assistance of 3.5%, and that 3.5% is based on the purchase price and it can't exceed the appraised value. So it's more geared toward first-time home buyers or qualifying veterans. And this assistance may be considered a grant as long as the program guidelines are met. Indiana also has the Honor Our Vets program, so that's for active duty members of the military, veterans, and retired military personnel who are moving to Indiana and can get up to $5,000 to help with down payments, clothing costs, or relocation expenses. And you must be able to get a VA loan for this to work. Now let's talk about VA loans. So VA loans are great because no money down, it's easier to qualify, and it has competitive interest rates. When considering a VA loan, it's very important to talk with a good loan officer for more information. They'll be able to go more in depth with interest rates and fees. VA loans do have good benefits and are good options for a lot of veterans, but there are also some things to be aware with, so let's go ahead and get into those. So VA loans must have an appraisal done, and that appraiser must be certified by the VA. The VA appraiser must make sure the home is safe, sound, and sanitary. In other words, the home has to be ready to be lived in and is unlikely to cause any veteran any physical harm or financial harm. The appraiser must make sure that the home meets the VA minimum property guidelines and that it's in good enough condition that it won't become a money pit and put you further into debt. An important thing to note is that the appraiser is not a home inspector. He or she is not required to test the things to make sure they work like a home inspector would. The VA will review the full appraisal report, and if any issues with the minimum property requirements exist, the borrower can ask the seller to fix the issue. But if the seller refuses, the borrower might need to walk away from the deal. The next are going to be the inspections. So what inspections are required for VA loans? So the VA loans don't require any home inspections, but I highly recommend getting home inspections done. The inspector will take a much closer look at the home and its functions. You'll know exactly what you're getting into and what issues may come up sooner rather than later. An inspection will also tell you what things might need to be fixed right away. An inspection will also give you a good idea if the home is suitable for VA financing, which means that it's safe, sound, and sanitary. With VA loans, there are minimum property requirements. So let's go ahead and get into some of those. So the requirements are the home has to be a residential property. The home can't have any lead-based paint. If there is lead-based paint, it must be remediated. The home must have adequate heating and cooling in areas where plumbing exists. Your heating and cooling system must be able to maintain a temperature at least 50 degrees in plumbing areas. The home's cooling system must be in good working condition with no signs of unsafe or unsanitary features. If you come across a home with solar heating and cooling, the VA may approve that, but the home has to have backup heating and cooling systems available. The home must have safe and working electricity. The electrical system in the home should be adequate to power necessary appliances and lighting. If the wiring in any area of the home is known to not work or deemed unsafe, you or the seller may need to repair it before the VA approves the loan. The VA won't approve a home loan for a house that has exposed wiring or unsafe electrical system features. The house will also need to fall in line with local building codes too, which could mean that the VA requires test and reset buttons on all GCFI outlets or upgraded circuit breakers from fuse boxes. Bright and visible wiring will need to be repaired no matter where the house is located. The property must have year-round access to safe and potable water for drinking, showering, bathing, and any other sanitary uses. There must also be a supply of hot water sanitary facilities to use for all family members. The property is required to have year-round access to safe and potable water used for drinking, showering, bathing, and any other sanitary uses. The home must have well-managed structures, including a roof with at least 3 years of life left on it, crawl spaces, basements, and attics free from pest damage, mold, mildew, and other infestations. The roof must protect the home from moisture and be free of the need for immediate maintenance, so there must be adequate roofing. The home can't have any signs of leaking in the basement and crawl space. There also can't be any signs of termite damage, dry rot, or fungal growth within the home either. The property must be free of any natural disasters like flood zones, sinkholes, and any type of environmental contamination. This includes radon gas, asbestos, and lead-based paint. So those are some of the requirements that the VA has for homes. Obviously, the home needs to be in pretty good condition when you put in an offer, so that's definitely something to be aware of, and just make sure you get your inspection done. Even if you don't ask the seller to fix anything, you still want to make sure what you're getting into. So that was my overview of different veteran benefits here in Indiana. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And remember, if you're looking to move in 9 days or 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call.